Hi. Can you hear me? It's a good show so far, right? That's why I wanted to go on first. But let's get seriously. My little piece is called Seeing God. Having seen God just once, I thought it worth dog-earing that page in my life. 7:15 p.m., Sunday, March 20th, 2011. Okay, I'm sipping my preprandial martini. About a third of the way through, while reading, I get to thinking about the Saturday volunteer walks I'd been taking each week the past dozen or so years with the mentally or otherwise disabled residents of Cedars of Marin in Marin County, where I lived at the time. I'd often thought about recruiting the Cedars residents as characters for a mystery novel in which they'd somehow work together with our small cadre of volunteers to solve some diabolical crime, murder at the Cedars of Marin. But not this time. Instead, a picture came to mind of something I'd seen every Saturday for all those years at Cedars, and yet had taken little notice of before. When we volunteers would arrive to lead the residents on their walk, we'd find many of them already gathered out front to greet us, hug us, and otherwise thank us for our being there. There was no pretense to these gratifying expressions of love. They were honest feelings, honestly expressed, because those who expressed them had no guile, none whatsoever. It was a beautiful moment that went to the heart of what motivated us to do what we did year after year. It was a greater reward, a sop for the soul, you might say, than we could possibly receive any other way. They were, in fact, doing more for us than we were doing for them. So I'm sitting there that Sunday evening, sipping my drink, when another thought shoves my mystery novel aside. I visualize another scene that always took place between the 15 minutes we volunteers would arrive and the moment we'd begin our hour-long walk. What I see is two of the Cedars residents, unable to walk with us, being picked up by their parents for a day's outing. This scene, I'd so often overlooked, suddenly took on the vivid presence of a set tableau, a Christmas creche of sorts. First, there's longtime resident Eleanor Powers. I'm not using her actual name, who defines the very word happy, inspirationally happy. So much so that she makes everyone who knows her happy. Tiny Eleanor, perhaps in her 60s, is somewhat mentally challenged, quite bent, but uses her walker energetically and with aplomb. When I'd see her walking herself to her parents' car for her outing, I'd say something like, "Hi, Eleanor, how you doing?" And she, with her huge, beautiful smile, would always reply, "I'm wonderful. Thanks for asking." And she'd usually add something like, not the least bit banal, coming from her, "Isn't it a beautiful day?" And the way she'd say it, and just to be in her presence, it became a beautiful day. Eleanor's parents, easily in their 80s, readily recognized us volunteers, just as we recognized them, and we'd say or nod hello to each other. The second resident, Lena Williams, another Cedars longtimer, even smaller than Eleanor, and about the same age, can walk, barely, but is severely disabled mentally, cannot speak, and is not able to openly acknowledge the presence of others. And every week, her mother, perhaps in her 80s, would arrive when we did to pick up her and Lena for their day together. God is coming. Stay with me. So there I am, thinking about this stunning scene of familial love. I'd been witnessing every week, writ on my mind with invisible ink and revealed that Sunday evening by the heat of my gin, and yet about which I had given so little thought to before. And that's when it occurred to me that it's time I walked up to Mr. and Mrs. Powers and Mrs. Williams, introduce myself properly, and tell them what an absolutely lovely thing their love of their child had been to observe. I even invented the appropriate words to say to these remarkable parents. Though I know you don't need me to tell you this, you have something very special in your daughter, and she has something very special in you. And the thing that's so special is love. God has blessed you. And so, come the next Saturday, I said something close to these words to each of them, ending with that odd, coming from me, God has blessed you. God? Who am I? Who is this devout atheist to have invoked the name of someone, something, in which I do not believe, do not profess to believe? What had prompted me to even think of, much less speak, the name of God and insert him into this tableau? And then it smacked me in the face. I had seen God, and God was not a robed deity who resembles man and resides in heaven. I had seen God in the love of these aged people with familiar faces, but who were relative strangers to me and me to them. I had seen God not once, but every Saturday for many, many years. And I guess I just didn't recognize him. I had seen God in the love these parents had been showing to their child, a love exhibited by the simple act of being there. In one case, a mother's and father's love of their Eleanor, who so eloquently spoke her thanks. In the other, a mother's love of her Lena, who cannot speak hers. An epiphany? I don't know. Anyhow, that's how, on that Sunday evening in 2011, I saw God, and that time I did recognize him. And when I did, I burst into tears. I sobbed at the very beauty of what at last I was able to see.